Hello, everyone. Welcome to International Royal TV. Thank you for clicking. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please thumbs up if you haven't already. Please check out our community tab and playlist section for King Charles III Life History series. Also, we did Queen Elizabeth II's life history, Prince Edward's life history, Princess Anne's life history, and Prince Philip's life history so far. So today we'll be continuing on with King Charles III life history session number 4, which is called Marriages, which is under the subheading of Prince of Wales. Prince of Wales we've split into 3 categories. We concentrated in session number 3 on his military training career, and this will be called session number 4, Marriages. And then session number 5 will be called Official Duties, all under the heading of Prince of Wales. So today we will be doing session number 4, and it's called Marriages. And we'll start off with Lady Diana Spencer in terms of King Charles III's life history, and source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. So let's go. Marriage to Lady Diana Spencer, or the meeting and the run-up of how they met and everything. All right, let's get into it. Charles first met Lady Diana Spencer in 1977 while he was visiting her home, Althorp. He was then the companion of her elder sister, Sarah, and did not consider Diana romantically until mid-1980. While Charles and Diana were sitting together on a bale of hay at a friend's barbecue in July, she mentioned that he had looked forlorn and in need of care at the funeral of Lord Mountbatten. She was a sweet lady from day one. Soon, according to Dimbleby, without any apparent surge in feeling, he began to think seriously of her as a potential bride, and she accompanied him on visits to Balmoral Castle and Sandringham House. Charles's cousin Norton Knatchbull and his wife told Charles that Diana appeared awestruck by his position and that he did not seem to be in love with her. Meanwhile, the couple's continuing courtship attracted intense attention from the press and paparazzi. While Charles's father told him that the media speculation would injure Diana's reputation if Charles did not come to a decision about marrying her soon and realizing that she was a suitable royal bride, in brackets, according to Mountbatten's criteria. Charles construed his father's advice as a warning to proceed without further delay. He proposed to Diana in February 1981, with their engagement becoming official on 24th of February. The wedding took place at St. Paul's Cathedral on 29th of July. Upon his marriage, Charles reduced his voluntary tax contribution from the profits of the Duchy of Cornwall from 50% to 25%. The couple lived at Kensington Palace and Highgrove House near Tetbury and had 2 children, William in 1982 and Harry in 1984. As of 2025, Charles has an estranged relationship with his son Harry, who relinquished his royal family obligations and moved to the United States in 2020. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. I'd like to confirm any of this. And we are dealing with King Charles III's life history as we continue talking about marriages. Within 5 years, the marriage was in trouble due to the couple's incompatibility and near 13-year age difference. In 1986, Charles had fully resumed his affair with former girlfriend Camilla Parker Bowles in a videotape recorded by Peter Stetland in 1992. Diana admitted that from 1985 to 1986, she had been deeply in love with someone who worked in this environment. It was assumed that she was referring to Barry Manicky. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia, who had been transferred to the Diplomatic Protection Squad in 1986 after his managers determined his relationship with Diana had been inappropriate. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Diana later commenced a relationship with Major James Hewitt, the family's former riding instructor. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Charles and Diana's evident discomfort in each other's company led to them being dubbed the Glums by the press. Press never were very sensitive or friendly, were they? Diana exposed Charles's affair with Parker Bowles in a book by Andrew Morton, Diana, Her True Story. Audio tapes of her own extramarital flirtations also surfaced. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia, as did persistent suggestions that Hewitt is Prince Harry's father, based on a physical similarity between Hewitt and Harry. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. However, Harry had already been born by the time Diana's affair with Hewitt began. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. In December 1992, the British Prime Minister John Major announced the couple's legal separation in the House of Commons. Early the following year, the British press published transcripts of a passionate but telephone conversation between Charles and Parker Bowles that had taken place in 1989, which was dubbed Tampongate and CAMILLA Gate. Charles subsequently sought public understanding in a television film with Dimbleby. Charles, the Private Man, the Public Role, broadcast in 1994. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia, and we are continuing on with King Charles III's life history, and we are talking about marriages. And we're currently on talking about the marriage to Diana. Okay, let's continue. In an interview in the film, Charles confirmed his own extramarital affair with Parker Bowles, saying that he had rekindled their association in 1986, only after his marriage to Diana had irretrievably broken down. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. If you'd like to confirm or check any of this, let's continue. This was followed by Diana's own admission of marital troubles in an interview on the BBC current affairs programme Panorama, broadcast in November 1995. Referring to Charles's relationship with Parker Bowles, she said, "Well, there were three of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." She also expressed doubts about her husband's suitability for kingship. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Charles and Diana divorced on 28th of August 1996 after being advised by the Queen in December 1995 to end the marriage. The couple shared custody of their children. Diana died following a car crash in Paris on 31st of August 1997. Charles flew to Paris with Diana's sisters to accompany her body back to Britain. It's bringing back sad memories. If you can hear my voice shaking a bit, I'm trying to not be emotional. Sorry about that. Let's continue. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. In 2003, Diana's butler, Paul Burrow, published a note that he claimed had been written by Diana in 1995, in which there were allegations that Charles was planning an accident in Diana's car, brake failure, and serious head injury so that he could remarry. How could she get a prediction so close to what might have happened? Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. She had allegedly expressed similar concerns in October 1995 to Lord Mishcon, her solicitor, that reliable sources had told her that she and Camilla would be put aside for Charles to marry Tiggy Legbrook. First I've heard of that. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Be able to corroborate any of this over there and catch up on there if you would like to read further. We are talking about King Charles III life history, and we're talking about marriages. When questioned by the Metropolitan Police Inquiry Team as part of Operational Paget, Charles told the authorities that he did not know about his former wife's note from 1995 and could not understand why she had those feelings. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. The allegations were later revealed to have been among the smears spread by journalist Martin Bashir to secure an interview with Diana for the BBC. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia, and we have just covered the marriage between King Charles, well, Prince Charles at the time, and Princess Diana. And now we are going to move on to details about his marriage with Camilla Parker Bowles, and this is all under the heading of Prince of Wales on Wikipedia. So let's move on to the marriage between Charles and Camilla. Camilla Parker Bowles. Because Charles and Parker Bowles were romantically involved periodically both before and during their respective first marriages, their relationship received criticism from the public and the media. Following both of their divorces, Charles declared his relationship with Parker Bowles was non-negotiable and appointed Mark Bolland to enhance. Sorry, let's go again. Charles declared his relationship with Parker Bowles was non-negotiable and appointed Mark Bolland to enhance Parker Bowles' public profile. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. In 1999, Charles and Parker Bowles made their first public appearance as a couple at the Ritz London Hotel, and the following year she met Queen Elizabeth II at the 60th birthday party of former King Constantine II of Greece, which was seen as an apparent seal of approval by the Queen on the relationship. In 2003, Parker Bowles moved into Charles's official residence, Clarence House, and she accompanied Charles on most of his official events, including the annual Highland Games in Scotland. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Former Archbishop of Canterbury, George Carey, told the Times that Charles and Parker Bowles should marry. He is heir to the throne and he loves her. The natural thing is that they should get married. Their engagement was announced on 10th February 2005. The Queen's consent to the marriage, as required by the Royal Marriages Act 1772, was recorded in a Privy Council meeting on 2nd of March. In Canada, the Department of Justice determined the consent of the Queen's Privy Council for Canada was not required, as the union would not produce any heirs to the Canadian throne. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Charles was the only member of the royal family to have a civil rather than a church wedding in England. British government documents from the 1950s and 1960s published by the BBC stated that such a marriage was illegal. These claims were dismissed by Charles's spokesman and explained by the sitting government to have been repealed. Is it repealed? I think so. By the Registration Service Act 1953. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. The union was scheduled to take place in a civil ceremony at Windsor Castle with a subsequent religious blessing at the castle's St. George's Chapel. The wedding venue was changed to Windsor Guildhall after it was realized a civil marriage at Windsor Castle would oblige the venue to be available to anyone who wished to be married there. 4 days before the event, it was postponed from the originally scheduled date of 8th of April until the following day in order to allow Charles and some of the invited dignitaries to attend the funeral of Pope John Paul II. Source I'm reading from is Wikipedia. Charles's parents did not attend the marriage ceremony. The Queen's reluctance to attend possibly arose from her position as Supreme Governor of the Church of England. However, his parents did attend the service of blessing and held a reception for the newlyweds at Windsor Castle. The blessing by Archbishop of Canterbury, Rowan Williams, was televised. Since their marriage in 2005, Charles has paid tribute to Camilla repeatedly in public letters, speeches, and interviews, thanking her for her steadfast support and referring to her as my darling wife. So that brings us to the end of session number 4, which concentrated on King Charles. Well, it was Prince Charles at the time. Well, King Charles' marriage. First of all, we talked about Lady Diana Spencer, and then we talked about his marriage to Camilla Parker Bowles. I've learned a lot here. I wasn't aware of all that back and forth with the wedding, of changing of venues for Charles and Camilla's wedding. So I've learned a lot there. Today's session was session number 4, which is called Marriages, which was under the subheading of Prince of Wales. Yesterday we did session number 3, which was under the subheading of Prince of Wales. We concentrated on his military training career. So if you have missed out on any of our previous episodes, you'll find them in the playlist section, and on the community tab we have a whole playlist called King Charles I's Life History, so you can catch up in there if you've missed out on any of the previous sessions. We previously did the intro, and then we did early life, family and education, and then we did Prince of Wales, which talked about his military training career. Under the same subheading, we've got marriages. Under the same subheading of Prince of Wales, we have marriages, and we just spoke about Lady Diana Spencer and Camilla Parker Bowles today. So the next session will be session number 5, under the subheading of Prince of Wales, and that one will be called Official Duties. We also have on the playlist section and in community tab Queen Elizabeth II's life history, Princess Anne's life history, Prince Edward's life history, and Prince Philip's life history. So if you might be interested in those, you can catch up in there and go and have a listen. I am making audio version of all of these, and the source I have been reading from is none other than Wikipedia. So if you like to catch up on there, you can have a read on Wikipedia. But if you prefer to listen to audio version, you can come over here, and I'll be doing plenty more life history series. Thank you so much for your time. So what I'd like to do now, please, is put up a poll, and then you can answer our poll question. Please thumbs up this if you haven't already. Also, please subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already. And if you're just joining, you'll be able to rewind today's session